Good morning, Leo. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. It's great to see you today. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and sharing everything that came through. I was busy channeling a little bit here, which is why I wanted to finish up before we got started. I hope everybody's doing well. And let me just remind you what's going on here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be looking at the next 6 to 8 weeks. I like to read about a month ahead. I'm going to put Apollo down so we can focus. And this can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, or Venus. And honestly, if you're attuned to your chart, you can use it for any aspect. And the way that I read at the beginning is all of the channeled messages, which are here on the table in front of me, are something that you can use no matter which sign you are. If you come here and you're present, there are messages to be received for you. The way that I organize this is in about 4 or 5 major parts. I begin with channeled messages, which I get through dreams, meditation, and automatic writing. I move along to the Celtic Cross, which everyone's familiar with. I don't theme that in any way. It's not just love. It's not your person. It's you. And I look at what's going on around you. Then we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll do a mini review. Then we dig into the soul path a little bit and see if there's any questions that can kind of help you get through any blocks. We'll meditate, and I do a final question at the end. So it's nicely organized, neatly packed, and give me a little bit of time, but by the end of the day, usually I put up the time codes. So you can always revisit this in the month ahead. And I'm reading for August. All the July stuff is up already. And for those of you that join me every month, a lot of this may resonate now because you're already a little bit ahead. So if you're here, stick around. It's going to be an exciting reading today. All right. So that's mainly how it's all organized. One other thing that I like to do before we get started is just remind you how you can show some support. If you like what you see here, Super Chat is a great way to say thanks. I'm actually working with a brand new deck today. This came through some suggestions a couple months ago when I was talking to everybody. Today I'll be reading with the Modern Witch deck, which looks really cool. So anyway, if you want to show support, if you'd like me to get new decks and do more video content, you can do that by showing support with a super sticker or super chat. You can also join the channel through this link as well. And or at the bottom of the video, there's a join button, and that allows me to do more content. Actually, before I get started, just a reminder, I'm starting to do more short content on Instagram and TikTok. So my username there is the same as YouTube, Nicholas Ashbaugh. I think what I'm going to do here on this channel is I'm going to start to do like a best of once a week. I'll just do maybe put 3 or 4 of those together in a 10-minute video. That way you don't have to kind of like sort through the story feature, which tends to have like only 60 seconds, and I do 3-minute shorts. So I am experimenting with some new content. It's great if you want to follow me there. There's no pressure. I'll bring some of it here, but I just wanted to let those of you know who might be on some of those other platforms to check me out. If you want to know when I post new videos here, please hit the thumbs up and then hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you've never hit the bell icon, that's a great way to get notifications on your phone or email notifications when I do something new. All right, let's get started here and get settled in. Okay, so today was a really busy morning for me with dreams. A lot of what I'm going to talk about later in dreams is, you see that little tail, my puppy always likes to get settled in the background. Makes me laugh. So do what you need to do to sort of get comfortable as well. Apollo certainly is doing that. Back to what I was talking about. I had a busy sort of dream interpretation morning where there was a lot coming through in dreams. The latter portion will be that. As I was doing automatic writing, this is where the totem came through for me. And what I saw was an owl, and I wanted to focus on the owl and also Athena, because the owl is Athena's sidekick, basically, in mythology. So we're going to look at the owl and also, through connection to that, Athena. Let's talk a little bit about both of them. I actually love both symbols. Owls are amazing. They're very beautiful, beautiful birds, right? Their neck can actually almost turn around all the way to the other side. So there's a very kind of like psychic energy to these birds and magical energy. So they can see things others can't. Unlike other birds, they hunt in the nighttime. So they're that beautiful nocturnal energy. And they just look divine, don't they? I can understand why a goddess would choose that as her companion. It looks like a beautiful, beautiful bird. And then as I was doing some research, it wasn't an accident that let's see, I actually pulled it up. I think it was Bebo or something? Bubo. In Clash of the Titans, that was the mechanical owl. So it actually does have a connection to the gods here. And this is like a coin in ancient Greece here showing that owl of Athena, which is really cool. So yeah, there's a nice combination of these two totems here that we're going to be talking about. So sometimes when I see one, I see the other. I always associate the owl with Athena anyway. But let's talk a little bit about this. So first and foremost, we'll begin with the owl. I think all of us know it's an amazing hunter. Interestingly enough, owls also hunt other owls. So unless you're a certain type of owl, you're not necessarily just the apex predator. They're interesting in that respect. So there's competition even among this very, sort of stealthy hunter. And it is stealthy. It moves quickly. I was watching a video about this. It actually has to do with their feather makeup. It's kind of velvety, like a moth would be, versus maybe a falcon, which is a little bit smoother. And what that does is it dampens the sound of the wind when it moves through their feathers. And I thought that's fascinating. They've evolved to be very quiet. So they hunt in the nighttime. They move very quietly. And then when they go in and eat their prey, it's like in one gulp too, which was kind of amazing. So it's a unique sort of hunting style for this bird. And for you, I think you have this same capacity this month to make a quick move. This could be a literal move from one place of living to another, from one job to another. This could also be sort of more metaphorical, where you're going to start to move onto a new path. And it's going from that decision to actually taking action and deciding, all right, this is how I'm going to do it. I haven't just decided that I'm going to do it. I'm going to take action and make it happen. So the owl is coming through and saying, let's do this now. And we can do it quickly if we make that decision. You may find that you have a surge of energy around evening time. They're nocturnal beings. There's a reason we say night owl. It's kind of almost, it's unnecessary because owls do work at night. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about here. So nighttime energy could either be good if you're like a student, you have to study, or if you're trying to put in a little bit of extra work, you could get that extra inspiration in the evening. It could also be frustrating for those of you that might be trying to get enough sleep. But let's talk about why it might be happening first. First and foremost, if you start to open up intuitively, evening messages happen a lot. So in your dreams, you might be picking up on things that you're not ready to see in the waking hours, but when you're asleep, your higher self comes through and says, no, this is something you need to deal with. And it's easier oftentimes to deal with psychic development in dreams. So sometimes dead relatives will come through, sometimes spirit guides will come through, sometimes we just see things that are about to happen. And it's less scary because we can wake up and think, oh, it was just a dream. But you know the difference between just a random dream and a dream that is clairvoyant, is prophetic. So this is really not uncommon. And one of the things that I'd like to remind you even is a 3 a.m. awakening, for those of you that might just open your eyes at 1, 2, or 3 in the morning, is not uncommon either if you're starting to intuitively wake up. 3 a.m. is actually a very magical hour. Can't remember the specifics of it, but I know when I took yoga teacher training, has to do with sort of like the earth, its connection to the sun. And there's this sort of opening, there's a portal right around that time. And it's a little bit like the veil is thinner, so you can more easily connect spiritually. It's a really good time if you wake up just to do some breath work, to meditate. You can go back to sleep if you want to, but take advantage of it if you happen to wake up. Don't just sort of like get angry. Just take a few deep breaths, see what wants to come through. If you feel like doing work, do work, but it's okay and you'll get used to it at some point. And if you don't like that and you want to sleep a little bit more, then you need to meditate more. The reason you're waking up or having all the psychic dreams is you're not meditating enough. So if you meditate during waking hours or before you go to bed, you're going to be able to get through some of that restlessness. This is where Athena came back in for me, because if you know the mythology of Athena, she's associated, she birthed herself by coming out of the head of Zeus. You may be experiencing a lot in your head space this month, and it kind of the energy needs to break out a little bit. So this could be because of all the work stress that you're holding. There could be a migraine. If there is, you need to talk to your doctor. Whatever it is, it seems like the head space is busy. It's kind of like a 7 of Cups moment where you need to sort of like clean it up and pick a path and stick with that. You might have difficulty focusing. And that's all of this is sort of coming through like being overworked and needing to decompress. I used to be more of a perfectionist, and you could just keep burning and burning and burning the candle at both ends. One of the things that I love about showing up live is you have to make peace with imperfection. We're all sort of like in the flow. And I think if you can sort of be a little bit more in the flow this month, that's going to help you. It's going to ease some of the stress, and you're going to be a lot more comfortable just with yourself. It's not about it's not about how you start, it's how you finish, right? So, and it's not about kind of like being in the moment if something's crazy. Just keep moving through it. Be the best you in that moment and just sort of learn from those experiences, right? All right, of course, now we're going to move on to the owl for a second. Athena's closely associated with the owl. It is her companion. They're both symbols of wisdom. Wise as an owl, right? And like the owl, she can see things that others couldn't because the owl has amazing night vision. And your knowledge this month is something that you really want to trust. Don't let anybody kind of like gaslight you or make you doubt yourself. Gaslighting, just a fancy term for people that can continue to sort of say, are you sure? Well, what about this? Or like kind of get under your skin and make you doubt yourself. This can come in an unlikely sort of form. It can be a mom, a dad, a boss, a sibling who you think you can trust, but they kind of step in and make you question not just your authority, but your own sort of intelligence. And we've all run across somebody that's adept at this. So remember, Athena came through. She wouldn't be showing up for your sign if there wasn't some wisdom. She didn't have some trust in your ability. Same thing with the owl. These are sort of very smart symbols to come through. So this is about leaning on your inner intelligence, intuition, of course, but also sometimes it's just black and white. You can see it in the facts and you want to trust that because you're seeing something that's real. Athena is the goddess of war, reason, strategy, and like handiwork and crafts. She's smart, right? I think it's interesting that she's like with war also comes the strategy and wisdom. So you don't have to fight just because you can. Pick your battles very wisely. Know when it's time to fight, know when it's a draw or when it's not worth your time and energy. This is kind of like looking at a 5 or 7 of swords moment and thinking like, what do I need to do? Is this person actually receptive to feedback? I've had people in my life where they just don't get the hint, right? You can say it in multiple ways, but they are sometimes incapable of perceiving it. You could have someone who is sort of suffering from depression or is just sort of in their own sort of place and they're not open to the feedback. And if that's the case, then you don't want to exacerbate that first and foremost. And if there is anything going on that is kind of like bringing them down or is even like mental illness, they need a different form of help. They don't need sort of like a fight or an argument with you. So that's where you kind of want to pick your argument and pick your moment well. There are other things that are worth fighting for, and this is something that you deserve. This is something like intellectual property. Athena to me is also kind of connected with justice too, like what's right, what's wrong, a fierce warrior. So I think if it is something legal that you need to go after, stick to the facts, document everything. You have a fighting chance for sure with this totem coming through. Okay. Next piece. Let's see. Owls often, like I said, consume their prey whole. And I'm going to look at this as a symbol of knowledge. So for those of you this month, we can say one thing for diet. I would say just make sure that you're not kind of like trying to overdo anything, over consuming, of course. But when it comes to knowledge, I actually feel like there's a metaphor here, almost like being a sponge. You can consume and process more than you give yourself credit for. I think it's a good time to dive into any sort of educational endeavors, anything that really inspires you with respect to training and expansion and things like that. These two symbols are showing me that you may see something that others don't. Really good for if you're trying to like start up a business and it's, maybe it's a tech startup or there's some other sort of like innovative piece to it, go for it. What we're going to talk about here in a second, though, is I want you to protect that. Protection is going to be the last and the most important thing that we're going to talk about. So when it comes to intellectual property, absolutely make sure that you have a moment to talk to a lawyer, to register copyrights, trademarks, all of that stuff, to make patents, etc., to make sure that that's protected. And let's move on to why I'm saying this. I couldn't quite quantify what was going on, but over a series of dreams, there was a common theme of safety, infatuation, and then also just sort of like privacy and limits. So for some of you, there could be someone in your life that wants something that you have. Jealousy is another word for all of this. Jealousy or infatuation. So I had a really great Reiki teacher / mentor at one point that reminded me that everything at its source can kind of go back to love. So when we look at people that are sort of like struggling with jealousy, infatuation, obsession, possessiveness, it's usually because they want what you have or what someone else has. They admire, but they don't know how to express that admiration or love. Because normally you see someone who inspires you and you think, oh, I want to learn more about that. I want to do some of that. I could do that. It inspires the flame within. There are some people, however, who want to just have that. And that's what you want to be careful of. So when it comes to knowledge this month and what you've worked on, protect the intellectual property. That's why I was saying patents, etc. And then when it comes to your own safety or well-being, having limits is going to be really important. The piece of like infatuation or obsession, I think if any, we all feel it from time to time. It's sort of like, oh, I really want this, or I want that person, or I want to have X, Y, Z. Take a step back and realize that you're feeling that because you're connected to something on a soul level that has awakened you. It can be a good thing. Think of your first crush in school or first infatuation. That awakened a side of you that maybe you hadn't experienced before. It's like, oh, now I know what I'm interested in. Now I know what this is what I want to kind of like experience. And also that person inspires this within me. It's called a crush for a reason though, sometimes, because it can be short. It can crush you if the person doesn't sort of feel that in return, but there's still a blessing because it was an awakening. So it would be better if we could come up with a better word than crush. Awakening, I like. Then it wouldn't be so much about that person or how you felt when it ended, or if it didn't happen, it would be more like, oh, I know what I want. Thank you for the awakening. Whether or not you choose to awaken with me or experience this with me, I still now understand something that's important to me. So that inspiration within is important. And what I put here is like, kindle your own fire, people. That's part of the reason I'm not going to sit here for 60 to 90 minutes and only focus on the other person. I want you to be the desirable one. I want people to come to you. I want you to feel that sort of a magical sort of energy. So don't feel that you need to control or attract that other person. If it's meant to be, it will be. You can put yourself out there and say that you're interested. If they're not interested, or if they play games, that's probably not the best connection for you. See yourself as the one that others will seek rather than vice versa. You're the magnet. You're not the one that's trying to try to like pull them in. They're just naturally being pulled in. Increase security measures. Like I said, I would also include this at home, online, even like with cameras and everything, because I was seeing that sort of energy of protection that will give you peace of mind. It's also going to give you what you need in case something happens. You can go to that footage or whatever. I don't necessarily think anything bad is going to happen. When I pick up on this, it's just about like being mindful, being careful. It's kind of like insurance. You don't want to have to pay for it, but the minute that you need it, you're happy that it's there. So Athena is a protective energy, so protect yourself. That's really all that's coming through with that. Now, this one was very specific, so ridiculously specific that I have to bring it up. In my dream, I was shown like a search bar, and financial security or financial improvement was kind of typed in there. Finances, help me with my finances. It was like Google was in my brain. So learn about it. That's what's coming through. Finances should be a focal point. We're going to look at it. It'll be at least one of my questions when I go into the soul path. I'll definitely look at work through this vein. Look at your budget, look at your income, look at what you're putting out, and then look at your debt. Knowledge is power. Once you know what you're doing, you're going to know how to fix it. Ask for help if you need it. There's nothing wrong with that. Get a second opinion, especially when it comes to money. And you probably want to look at like money, and then also like maybe work with a lawyer if there's something that you need to do with estate planning or all of that. Just look at the big picture, okay? And I also saw like a new opportunity knocking on the door, but kind of like with the energy of Athena breaking through Zeus's head, Zeus being a metaphor for like the Hierophant or the emperor. You got to break through the old system. And so for some of you, what you did before, you can't do now. I talked more about this last year, but there's a little piece of this that's coming through right now. And also the new opportunity may confound or confuse you because you're aligned with it, but it doesn't sort of fit in with maybe where you've been before. That's good. You're changing, you're shifting, you're moving. So as long as you can open up to that new moment, I think great things will happen. Okay. So exciting stuff, right? And you guys kept me busy as I was kind of processing all of this, all this morning. If you missed anything, don't worry. I'm going to go through all of these messages at the midpoint. I'm going to stack all of them up right now as we're talking. Just a reminder, I will be doing, I'll be here tomorrow as well. I'll be reading for Virgo. And then on the weekend, I'm going to do a mid-month collective. I'll post a link to that later today. And as we get closer to that, I'll decide on the topic. I'll also put some of the links out after I get to the midpoint here. But I just wanted to remind you, I'll be here tomorrow, I'll be here Sunday, I'll be here Monday. So those are my schedules. I'm always here Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday. And now I'm also doing shorts almost daily right now on TikTok. So a lot of you wanted me to do shorter content. I tried experimenting with it here on YouTube, but the feature's too restrictive at the moment because it's requesting like 60 seconds. So if you want to follow me, great. If not, I will probably at the end of the week or midweek, I'll post a best of from the previous week so you can still enjoy some of that content here on YouTube. All right, I'm going to get a drink of water. I'm going to show which deck that I'm using while I'm doing that. So again, it's the it's the Modern Witch, and I'll be right back and we'll get started. I will put this in the list of decks that I use later today. I'll update that page on my website. So just be patient and I will update that later today. And again, this was a suggestion that you guys gave me. So thank you. And it's with the support of all of your super chats and Patreon supporters and all of that that I'm able to kind of do this today. So thank you. I like this deck, but it is really thick. So shuffling it is a little tricky, but it's a cool deck. I read with it last night. And by the way, I see some comment about being rushed. I'm not. I'm experimenting with short form content on other platforms. So what you see there is a sort of like an in-between energy between what I'm doing here and all the monthlies. So feel free to follow me on TikTok if you'd like. Or Instagram, I'm posting it on both. Two here. There's the flame, which we were talking about. So if you just joined, this is a general reading for the sign of Leo, Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. I don't ask questions when I do the reading, or I don't answer questions rather when I do the reading because I go into a channel state. So just enjoy. You're going to have a nice complete forecast here. There's a lot to come through, and this isn't that type of reading today. Occasionally I do Q&A, but today is not a Q&A. Again, you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok if you want to get into those sort of live discussions. And then every now and then, I'm very close to a milestone here. So I'll probably do a Q&A when I hit the next milestone here for subscribers. When I'm up to 300,000, I'll do some sort of special reading. So stay connected with me, subscribe, and we'll see what comes through maybe in a couple months. Okay, let's take a look at everything. We have a couple of cards here that showed up right here in the catalyst position. So the flame card, interestingly enough, if you joined me at the beginning, you heard me talking about kindling your flame. The flame is reversed. So the important thing here to remember is that you always have that energy within that you're sometimes seeking in others. So infatuation is actually an illusion that someone else has something that you need. You have what you need within, but they're awakening or showing you that you need to kind of cultivate that a little bit more. So work on your inner flame. It's precisely what I talked about, because that's going to align you to the highest path. When you feel like you need to take someone else's fire or flame, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do. So use it as inspiration. Be inspired. Here's how I would look at the flame. Be inspired, inspire others, and do something that lights your flame, lights your passion, and makes you sort of excited to get up every day. So whatever that might be for you, your passion is coming through pretty strongly here. We have the gem card, and there's really no wrong way to hold a gem. It's round, so I'm not going to worry. It's kind of like sideways here. But what I like about this, kind of like a diamond, is it allows you to see all the different facets, all the different possibilities. When we look at ourselves or when we look at others, we're only ever seeing one of these facets. Very rarely can we see sort of the beautiful prismatic energy that is our soul. It is not just male, it is not just female, it is not just this, it is not just that. It's all of that. So looking at something from all different angles, the whole kaleidoscope, the whole rainbow, that's what we really need to focus on here. And you are that gem. And this, what might be happening for some of you is you're a little bit more of a diamond in the rough in the moment, but that's fine because heat, time, energy kind of pushes in on carbon and makes it a diamond. So everything, you're being put through a pressure test right now, some of you, you're going to come out looking like the diamond if you kind of stay strong, use the energy of the owl and the Athena sort of wisdom that we talked about earlier, and I think you're going to be okay. So clarify, be strong, and see things from multiple angles. Don't just see it from your point of view or someone else's. You've got to get a bigger picture here, okay? Your center card is fantastic. We don't have to worry. We actually have some great resource energy here. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. So you're looking pretty good, Leo. Wheel of Fortune, smack dab in the center. So many of you are focusing on money. That was what I said. We need to focus on money. Whether you like where you're at or whether you have some wishes and desires to improve upon it, the main thing for you is to feel more like the person on top than the one that's trying to hold this up like Atlas. So it's time to make a move financially and to be strong and push back where you need to. Seven of Wands is a take charge sort of energy and a no nonsense sort of thing too. So if there's someone in your life that's pushing you in such a way that you're not getting what you need, push back. If you need something, ask for it. Seven of Wands can be a good sort of pushy, if you will. The other thing that I would say here is to work smarter, not necessarily harder. Sometimes with the Seven of Wands, there's this desire to want to do everything. Like if it's going to be done right, quote unquote, you got to do it yourself. I think that you should be involved. I think that sometimes though, if we're looking at small details, small finishing details, you can waste time if you're doing everything soup to nuts. What would be better is just to get a really good team around you or to really trust and empower the people around you so that you can do even bigger and better things rather than having to like do the smallest little detail. So for any of you that have had a boss that comes in and micromanages, this is something where it makes no sense. You should push back on that. For you, this is a delegation card. So rather than having to do maybe some of that stuff that doesn't make sense, ask if you can delegate, ask for help, ask to prioritize. There's a pushing back and a prioritization energy that's intrinsic to the Seven of Wands. Ultimately, it's a successful card, but there's a need to find balance. The odd numbers are helping us get to balance, but we're not quite there. So that's why you need to do something to bring a little bit more balance in. All right. We have the Queen of Cups, Deep Past. Really good card to come through, showing that you've done a lot of work on yourself. And she's upright, thank goodness. A lot of times when I've been reading with cups, actually, this is astounding. Yours are all upright right now. So you're in a really good sort of energy right now. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Queen of Cups to me is showing me that you've done the internal work to open up, to heal yourself, and to know what you want. As I was talking about the crush or infatuation a little bit earlier, I said one of the gifts of that is that it gives us clarity. I want this, I don't want this. Even if the other person doesn't reciprocate, the clarity is there. So it feels like you're open, and you can tap into this inspiration energy too, creative energy, to do something. So it doesn't matter what facet of life you walk or what kind of career path, whether you are a scientist, a teacher, or an artist, this comes through as like this flame, right? What is it that I want to do? What is it I'm trying to do? As long as we're aligned to that, inspiration and productivity will come through. And so will like an epiphany, which is really just a synchronicity. So open up, lead with the heart, and things are going to be okay. It is a good time for love, but we'll talk about that in a moment here. I don't want to rush to it. All right. We're looking at recent past. For many of you, as you're tuning in live today, the biggest thing in front of you is to simply pick a path. Two of Swords, much like the Eight of Swords, is not as bad as it seems. The Two of Swords, there just may not be a clear winner, okay? So maybe you have a couple of choices in front of you and there are shades of, you know, maybe like variation between the two, but it's pretty close. So the important thing then is we could take one hint from her, which is to close her eyes and just think, what do I want to do a little bit more? All right, we're going to pick that path. Take the blindfolds off. We're going to move. Otherwise, what happens? Stagnation, stasis, indecision, and we don't need or want any of those things to happen. So open your eyes, pick a path. It will be okay. And you can always course correct once you've made that decision, okay? So don't overthink it. The other thing with the Two of Swords is to pay attention to something you don't want to see. So in a relationship, this could be something that someone reveals that, you know, like there's a side of themselves when we go back to the gem, the diamond sort of energy here, that you kind of thought that they were perfect, but there's one little flaw, just like a diamond has a flaw. One little thing that came through and you're like, ugh, but you need to deal with it. You need to talk about it. So when I see Two of Swords, even though it's upright, it's actually more elevated when it's reversed because it means no more closing my eyes. I'm going to open it up. So you want to open your eyes up. We need to actually transmute this a little bit. Open your eyes, talk about what you need to talk about, choose a path, move forward. Things will improve from there on out. As I look at your headspace, it's actually pretty good this month. We have Temperance in the crowning position. And Temperance is very even. It's very, I feel like it's a neutral mindset, so that's good. The only thing that might be necessary for some of you is don't hold back. Much like the Star reverse, when I look at like this flame reversed, I would say if there's something that you want to do and you're kind of like uncertain about it, this will be harder to sell because this is lukewarm. So if you were throwing out a resume, project proposal, if you want to ask someone out, any sort of proposal, you have to show them, you don't want to be too coy. You don't want to be too sort of on the fence. Show a little bit of passion, show a little bit of interest. Otherwise, you're asking like a question. And it's so much stronger to sort of declare something, say, I'm interested. Are you free tonight? That's better than would you like to go out with me? Just say, I think you're amazing. And I'd like to, like, are you free for dinner this week? Let me know. That's stronger than, do you like me? Are you ready? Sending notes to people like we did in high school. Just kind of be bold, put it out there. Say something at the beginning. I think you're great. Rather than you don't have to focus on beauty or anything like that. You could just say, you're amazing. I would love to hang out. If you're interested, here's my number. And then let them call you if they need to. Just be strong. Anything like that. Same thing if you're on an interview. When someone says, why are you interested? Say, I think this is an amazing opportunity. It's exactly what I've been looking for. I feel like my skills are aligned with what you have. And I think that we would both be mutually happy to have one another. So if you're interested, so am I. And if not, then let me know so that I can find somewhere that is. You know, like when I was a manager hiring people, I would look for a certain amount of confidence, not like in your face cockiness, but more sort of like, no, this is really something that I'm into. This is, and I've done the work to get to this level. So just put it out there. You should have some interest. I don't want someone who's bored and yawning at the reading and looking at their watch. So there's something in between. You don't want to play it too cool. You don't want to put everything out there. Just be honest. So Temperance is good, but don't play it too cool is what we're getting with that. Okay. The next piece, Queen of Pentacles. We have a really great card coming through in the near future for you. So I would say it's a very fertile card, right? We've got the bunny rabbit here, which is a symbol of fertility. I think someone asked me, why is that fertile? Bunny rabbits reproduce pretty quickly. That's why it's a fertility symbol. The other thing here is anything that you decide to touch or put your energy into, metaphorically speaking, of course, you're going to see some sort of a result, right? Like the Midas touch, but in the best way. So put some time and energy into something this month. I see a return on it. If you try to kind of improve your finances this month, fantastic. You're going to see a shift happening there. And you can grow from wherever you're at so that you haven't reached a ceiling at all. There is no glass ceiling. You can keep going, okay? So keep on moving. I like what I see here. This can also indicate an energy coming in, an earth sign energy coming in. Some of you may also be looking at starting a family or expanding a business, and that can also be indicated by this. It's house, home, expansion, maternity, birthing, either literally or metaphorically. All right, time for a move. And it's time to sort of move on. So we have the 10 of Wands here in your soul space. And with the 10 of Wands, doesn't she look burdened by this? It's interesting how every 10 of Wands would be different. I think this sort of illustration is telling us to take a pause, to look at how far we've come, and to be excited that this is the last leg of the journey. Some of you may need to telework. This can be telecommuting or working from home. This could also be a literal move. This could be some travel associated with work, but it feels like movement is part of this next journey. So that's why temperance needs to take another step forward. So I don't mind the patience here, but I want to see a little bit more movement. And I was seeing moving in my dreams as well. So that's important for you guys. As we look at the environment, I like that we have this manifestation card. What a cool modern interpretation. She's looking at her phone instead of the normal globe or crystal that the 2 of Wands would be holding. So this is also telling us to open up that portal if we need it. So when I look at the phone, this could be sending a text, making that phone call or that connection, or sending an email that you need to. It could also be searching for something. If you don't know what you need, I saw Google in my head, like the search bar. So for you, maybe you need to find something that's going to bring you the financial success that you need. We've got finance all over this forecast today. So I did get that much today, that this would be sort of like money, productivity, or career. There's a little bit of that needs to be focused on. And whatever you decide to do with that, I see a movement happening for you in a really positive way. You need to know where you're going so that you can get there faster. And that's basically what the 2 of Wands is showing us. You could also assume that this is her entering the address. So the GPS, which is our third eye and crown, starts to open up, and we know where we're going, and we know how to get there, and we know how much time it's going to take, all of the above. Okay, we have the moon card here, and it's kind of a clever interpretation here. We, instead of the wolf and the dog, we kind of have the masks on these 2 people showing those 2 energies. So look at in the pool, instead of it being a scorpion, we also see a person coming out here. So when I'm looking at this, it actually has a little bit of 3 of Cups energy. I feel like we could almost have lover type energy here. And then there's someone or something that needs to be dealt with. It's kind of what we were talking about with the 2 of Swords, right? So if someone is in your life right now and there's either something going on with honesty or a revelation, something coming out, there could also be like a third party that came in and has made you doubt the situation a little bit. Talk it out. The moon card is really just saying transparent communication is key to success. So as long as you can talk about it, you can move along this journey. You can get to the next level. Okay, but if you can't or won't, it's going to find a way to manifest. Right now, it just needs you to turn around and pay attention and deal with it. And if you do, it just goes away. If you don't, it comes out of the water and it follows you until you're ready to deal with it. We have the King of Pentacles in your outcome this month, which is great. We actually have a connection here with Queen and King of Pentacles. So for some of you, this could be a relationship on the horizon. 2 of the same suit, especially King and Queen, can show that there's a partnership of some sort. For some of you, that could be romantic. It could also be money, since at the heart of things, we have the Wheel of Fortune. One of the important things that you need to deal with this month with respect to relationships is money. Talk about money. Whether you're in a relationship, whether you're looking for love, or whether you're trying to sort of just like fix your life or grow your life in some way, it's financial, soul path, and fulfillment, like self-confidence. All those things matter. Self-worth equals net worth. So I think that's something that you want to be focusing on this month as well. We're going to look at love and unpackage it in just a second. But the last thing that I see with the King of Pentacles is, to me, this is showing me that you really have the ability to surpass expectations. This is the top of the food chain when it comes to money and resource cards. And if we look at it outside of the vein of, hey, we've got a Queen of Pentacles here too, this is about your ability to take the lead. Some of you might be deciding to start a business, or you want to go up from the Queen to the King, and energetically, or like in your title, it's all available to you, right? So I think that's really important for you to realize, as you have a lot to offer and you shouldn't sell yourself short. All right, let's expand the forecast to take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with your health card. We have an affirmation. Yes, so if you've been thinking of making a change for the better, right off the bat, we have an affirmation. There's also just the positive energy with being positive. So like when you decide, yes, I can, yes, I will, rather than like, so no is important for boundaries, but so is yes. Yes, it's okay to do this. Yes, this is who I am. This is what I want. Yes. Yes, I accept this. Love, abundance, and opportunity in all the highest forms. Be positive. Be positive and you'll be surprised what can happen. If you're having a health issue, if you're having emotional issues or financial issues, thinking that you can fix it and being positive about what could happen with that could be the best gift that you could give yourself, right? So yes, make the change that you need to. Let's look specifically at some health messages and see what you could be shifting here. If something doesn't feel right, bring it up. Talk to your doctor, talk to your partner, talk to somebody. You have to deal with it. So the main thing that we see right off the bat is that something is trying to come through and you need to answer that call. As we look at the 10 of Wands, there's a reminder to look at posture. She's got terrible posture here. Also pay attention to, for those of you that might be working with manual labor, make sure that you're supporting your back, that your spinal health is okay. I would take the 10 of Wands any day over the 10 of Swords, but it is a warning the 10 of Swords could step in if you continue to sort of like not give your back the love and support that it needs. This is also about finding a way to blow off some steam. So we have a couple of cards here. This is the delegation. It's at the heart of the spread. This is you in the moment. So delegate a little bit. See how she can stand up taller when she's not holding on to so much? Let go a little bit. Or push through that final phase and then get back to the ace, get back to the flame, because this could ostensibly be a symbol of like the Ace of Wands. So we need to let go and move on and finish what you've started and then get on to the next thing. The Moon card comes through. It can be about emotional sort of issues that pop up. So we see the person kind of coming up here. This can be stuff from the past that we haven't dealt with. There could be relationship stuff that's coming through as well. This reads very much relationship to me. So honesty, trust issues, for instance, could be coming through. When it comes to the body, this has to do with the reproductive system or bladder. So if anything's kind of not feeling the way it needs to feel, go talk to a doctor about that as well. We have a lot of, we have King and Queen of Pentacles, and they're not known for moderation. Usually they treat themselves a lot. So when it comes to diet and drink and exercise, anything that you're kind of changing up with health, a little goes a long way. And to change from one thing to another, you should take, this is where temperance makes sense, one step at a time, okay? Let's look at wealth, because that was a big thing that came through. So health and wealth. Now we're on to wealth, and guess what? We've got the King card here, Lord. It says take charge with authority. I support that one. And you've got the King and Queen of Pentacles, so you definitely have the ability to do that. He's holding the Egyptian Ankh there, which is a symbol of power. And we see all this sort of beautiful sort of vines around him, showing the ability for the same sort of fertile energy that we see with the Queen of Pentacles, actually. See the same sort of vines here. It's growing there. So with your career, with your money, take control, take charge. If you're in a partnership, business or love, where the other person controls the money situation, you need to have access to that or visibility into it. And if it's in a company, you just need visibility. You may not need to control it, but you should be able to affect it. Once you take control over that, great things are going to happen, and you'll be surprised at how you can start to see gains and growth and opportunity there. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else with money. Some people may not want to talk to you about it. Maybe your family doesn't want to do something like will and testament, or like I was talking about estate planning. Do your own. Figure out your stuff. You can't force it. Unless there's an older parent, then you need to kind of look at some of that stuff. Just have the conversation then. But you work on your sort of financial house, and I think things are going to be good. If I just look at Soul Path this month, there's a very nurturing energy that comes through with the King and the Queen of Pentacles. This is the kind of thing that I would see with a teacher, a mentor. It could also be someone who just really wants to take care of other people. So there's a lovely nurturing energy. So whatever your career path is, it does feel like there's some giving back that you could do once you get to that point of abundance. Or there needs to be something that has a higher good, makes you feel a higher sense of fulfillment. So definitely take a look at that. Ultimately, I'm feeling great about your ability to have a breakthrough this month, because Wheel of Fortune, Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and another king here. As long as you have some sort of authority or some sort of influence, you're going to be able to make things happen. Okay? Thank you so much, by the way, for those of you that have shown support with super stickers, and especially those of you that have liked the video. It helps a lot. All right, health, wealth. Let's take a look at love. We have Jesus here, which is really forgiveness if we look at the caption. And it says, you're on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father, healing is possible at this time. That aligns really closely with what we have right under here. And different decks here, but we definitely have a connection between father and son, right? So this is not much different than maybe like the Five of Pentacles or something like that. So for some of you, what could be holding you back in, because that was in love, what could be holding you back in career and like loving yourself, appreciating yourself, and also in relationships is that forgiveness. So take a look at your relationship with father figures in your life. See if there's any healing that can be done. It's going to help you across all sort of like facets of your life. Specifically in relationship, because we have the moon card, relationships, I should say, or love, finding a way to love yourself and to see others for all that they are, perfect and imperfect, knowing that sometimes an imperfection helps you identify a gem, right? I'm not a gemologist or whatever they're called, but I know that a flaw in a diamond can help you make sure that that's the right diamond. So it's an identifying thing. It's something that's singular to you. So every person has a flaw. We wouldn't be on this planet if we weren't working through karma, knowledge, trying to learn more, expand more. There's always room for more. So before judging the other person, also take a look and take accountability for what you need to work on. And then in that conversation, sometimes it's a nice way that you can kind of land on an agreement. Say, we both could have done better. I'm ready to do the work. Are you? Are you ready to talk about this? Because if you are, I think we can do it. So love may require a difficult conversation. The interesting thing is we didn't get justice or judgment. We still have a king and a queen here. So if you're in a relationship right now, I feel like all you have to do is talk through something and try to align on a common goal. Let's separate it into in a relationship, looking for love, or not looking for love, single and happy. So if you're in a relationship, you may have to press the other partner to talk about something that matters for you. You may want to go back to school. You may want to move. You may want to tap into your financial resources and do something with it. You have to bring it up. You have to, at some point, make time. And I've had a relative before that says, it's never a good time. And you're right. So sometimes you have to say that to the other person. Let's make time today. So make time today to talk about something that matters. Some of you, it is a family, starting a family, if you're in love. And I think for some of you, it's just a decision of what do we want to do next? What's the next big couple goal? Either way, it's fine. I feel like you can do this, but you can't do it all alone. So more balance is necessary between these two cards, and I think you'll be all right. If you're looking for love this month, it feels like it could be on the heels of a move. It feels like manifestation is playing a really big role. So don't doubt that you're pulling in the exact sort of energy that you want. It could be a water sign. It could be a Scorpio that's coming through. I see you being successful in what you're trying to accomplish, but I think you should focus on your health and wealth first, and that's going to come in as a sort of like bonus after that. Temperance is really interesting. We see kind of like this rainbow colored top here. So a lot of rainbow energy here. So what I'm seeing here is someone that may come through not sort of fitting a black and white mold. So there's, if you're looking for love, it might be outside of your expectations. So keep an open mind. All right. If you're single and happy, I just see a lot happening with money and career. Wheel of Fortune, Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. And also like you might be checking off some big bucket list items. So if you've been trying to do a certain thing by a certain age, or if you've been trying to launch something, I see success for you this month, okay? Thank you so much for those 2 stickers. I appreciate it. All right, let's look at your final card here. We have precisely what I was talking about earlier, prioritizing meditation. It says, don't hate, meditate. Thank you, angels, for guiding me to love through meditation. So the reason that some of that agitation or insomnia could be setting in for some of you is because you just need to quiet the mind. You need a little bit of time to yourself. There's too much to process. So make sure that at least half an hour a day, you're taking some time to just take a walk. Meditation doesn't have to simply be, it can be walking, it could be listening to some music, reading a book. There's different forms, but if you could do like a quiet walk and think through things, imagine that every tree that you move past is sort of like absorbing some of your energy. You could hang up your troubles and just keep walking down the path. There's a lot of things that you could do like that. Stick around today. I do a 1.5 minute meditation approximately here. Maybe I'll do some more on TikTok and Instagram as well, like 3-minute ones, because 1 to 3 minutes, you can do a lot to just sort of clear your head. So it doesn't have to be an hour. That's, I think, what gets in the way sometimes of people meditating more, is they're worried that it has to be a big investment. Just do it more and more often. Smaller amounts are okay. It's more about like making it a habit. And the last thing about this, there is premeditation is what we're looking at this. So this is really another way of saying like the Two of Wands. Know what you want, meditate on that, visualize it, use a vision board, write it down, close your eyes and see it, feel it, trust it, believe it, be it. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick mini review, and then we're going to go into the soul path. Let me write down a couple of questions so that I can remember it when we get into that portion. I definitely want to look at, what was it that I said earlier? There was a question here. Oh yeah, well, we got the finances actually. I feel like we got finances pretty nicely here. When I look at the cards here, we've got wands, we have cups, we don't have any swords. All right, so I'd like to look at action plan. What's the next step, right? So let's see, I'm just gonna say, putting it into action. And, oh, father healing. So let's take a look at familial healing. That's what I'm gonna look at, family. All right, cool. And then we'll do a wild card. All right, so this is our mini review. Stick around, it's about 5 minutes here, but I usually see additional things as I do this. If you just joined, perfect timing. Since I am at this midpoint, if you haven't already hit the like button, please do it. It helps other people discover it, and it's easy and it's free. All right, we have the dual totem this month, the owl and Athena. The owl is Athena's sidekick, basically, and they both have a lot of similarities when you look at symbols. The owl is an amazing hunter. Athena is the goddess of war. It has keen vision and stealthy moves, strategy, right? They're very similar there. You two have this capacity to move quickly, faster than you think, actually. Use timing to your advantage. So act first, don't wait. Be the leader. We actually have like a lot of captain cards here with the queen, the king, the lord, right? A bunch of movement here. We also have a Queen of Cups here in the deep past. So definitely have that ability to make something happen. You can, you might get this surge of energy at night. I mentioned in particular, some of you might be getting stuff at 3 a.m. What's happening is you're just you're intuiting things a little bit more, and take advantage of this. Write some stuff down. If you don't like that 3 a.m. wake up call or the stuff that's happening in the middle of the night, then just meditate a little bit more. Okay. And what that's going to do is help you receive during your waking hours, and do the same that you would with sleep, but then you can be more rested. Athena broke out of Zeus's head. That was the way she was born. For many of you this month, you might have like a splitting headache or a lot going on in your head. And the answer here is to kind of find a way to talk about it. That's what we have. No swords. It makes a lot of sense. So we need the swords. So we'll look at communication. I'm actually going to extend this like action/communication, because I feel like it's a combination of the two. So you might be feeling that there's just a hard time focusing, a lot to sort of deal with, right? All right. Your mind's overworked. It needs time to decompress. So just give it the time that it needs to decompress, okay? Athena is closely associated with the owl. They're both symbols of wisdom. They're also, oh yeah, this is one of the keen things that I picked up on with the owl, is that it has the ability to see things that others can't. So just keep an open mind and look at it from a different angle when we go back to this facet card. I think that's really important as well. Don't let anyone make you feel less than. That's so important. If there's someone in your life that told you weren't smart enough, good enough, ready enough for something, I want you to trust in your own knowledge and your own power. You've got a lot of power symbols this month. Just because you can go to war doesn't mean that you have to. Athena's also the god of, if I can keep the cards in the same position here, the god of strategy and wisdom. So part of wisdom and strategy is to know when and if you should go to war or fight a fight. So remember that just because you can doesn't mean you should. So pick your battles wisely. and know when it's time to move on. 10 of Wands, right? Owls can eat things whole, digest it whole. This means that you also have the ability to soak things in faster than you think. So now is the time to sort of dive in and do something. Infatuation, obsession, or holding on, kind of wanting to possess something. That energy came through. It's not something that we want to sit in too much. Take a step back and realize that what you're really awakening to is just this flame that you have within. You don't need that person to make it happen. You have it. They're just showing you something that you can accomplish in your own life. So kindle or fan your own flame and fire. Release the need to control others. Instead, see yourself as that magnetic energy. You can pull people in. You don't have to lasso them in. They're going to just be naturally attracted to you. Increase security measures around home, online, etc. It's important. And just like insurance, you're happy to have it when you need it. Finances should be looked at. Thank goodness we got so many great cards this month. There just may be someone in your life that's not ready to kind of like support or deal with what you're trying to do. But I see some really positive trajectory in what you're trying to do. So I like it. Knowledge is power. Ask for help if you need it. Knowing what you have is going to help you understand how to bring in more. So it's basically just knowledge being power. There could be an opportunity that's awaiting you, but it requires an open mind. So again, going back to that image of Zeus, Zeus's head being cracked open by Athena. Athena's coming in to try to open your perspective, help you see it from a different point of view. You have that which you seek. You don't need to take it from others. You have it within. So just focus on kindling that. Everybody has flaws. Everyone has multiple facets. Look at yourself, look at others with that sort of forgiving lens. And then also don't limit yourself. This is prismatic. This is a spectrum. So give yourself permission to kind of go through that spectrum. It's a beautiful card, beautiful colors. We have the Wheel of Fortune at the center, and it's really closely aligned with Queen and King of Pentacles. You've got some great cards when it comes to money and opportunities this month. Don't limit yourself. If you need to have a seat at the table, for those of you that may feel like you're just not being paid attention to, this is absolutely appropriate for that. Show passion, and then let the other person know that it's time right now, that you're not going to sit around and wait forever, right? So this is about talking about something that you want or need. It could be marriage, it could be commitment, it could be money. Whatever it is, it does feel like you're deserving of it. It does feel like the timing's right. So ask for that. Delegate, work smarter, not harder. Don't feel like you have to take the whole burden of this opportunity. Pay attention to things, make other people pay attention to things. And if they won't, it's time to move on. Temperance is great. I like it overall. There may be moments if you're trying to move something forward where you're going to have to take that other step. You're going to have to show a little bit more. So you're going to have to figure out when to kind of do that. But by and large, it looks pretty good. This is an unusual temperance card. It is very summer related. Normally you would see a lily, and instead we see like a sunflower here. So the timing is perfect for this card. And you can usually see change in 2 to 3 months after the temperance card comes through, at least when I read it. So feels good. All right. Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, partnership could be on the horizon. You can also grow your resources. You also could attract someone or something even greater than your expectations. By and large, I like what I see here. If you're looking to start a family, great. If you're not, be careful because we have a very fertile symbol here. And we have the 10 of Wands here showing it's time to move on. It's time to let go of some of the burden and better things await you. But this could be a physical move as well. 2 of Wands. See what it is that you're trying to create. Take a step forward every day towards that. Little steps are what's important. Brick by brick. I talked to another sign about this month. That's construction begins with those baby steps. And then the King of Pentacles, I see you sitting in a really good place towards the end of the month here. 6 to 8 weeks, you look like you're in a much better place than where you started. Affirmative energy coming through in health. Be positive about your health. Say yes to things that make you happy. Say no to things that are toxic. Affirmation basically is what we see with this. Other health cards showing to kind of just honor, not going to extremes here. Sometimes the Queen and King of Pentacles treat themselves too much. So try not to overdo it. I think that's key. Focus on your back health, trying not to take on too much symbolic sort of strain if you're shouldering the burden of a lot of things in your life, or if you're literally carrying something, there needs to be some focus there. The other one here was, like I said, with reproductive or urinary tracts, you need to take care of anything going on there. Pay attention and just don't overdo it. That's actually, this can be weightlifting or strength building. You're going to be strong, but just don't feel like you have to prove anything. When we look at wealth, we have the Lord card, and that is definitely about taking control and initiative, and we have that here. So speak up. You'd be surprised what might happen when you do so. And then we have in love, a son card here. So we have father and son here. Forgiveness, and we're going to look at that here in the soul path in a moment. But forgiving others, maybe they couldn't tell you something because they were afraid of rejection. Maybe they weren't ready themselves to accept it. Forgive them, forgive yourselves, but then tell them that they've got to do better, and then see if that works. We didn't get any cards of separation here unless you want it. So I feel like there is an opportunity to heal there. In new relationships, one of the biggest challenges for you also is your mind is on other things. You need to make sure that other partner is equally interested. This is lukewarm. I want to see more than temperance when I'm looking at love. I want to see more honesty than I would see in the moon card. So take it slowly with new relationships. I feel like you need to move, you need to get settled first, and I think it'll be okay. In general, for those of you that aren't looking for love, single and happy, it's a really good time to improve the house and home, maybe move, maybe sell a home, maybe just make some plans for the future. Everything's looking pretty good here. And then your final card here is really about meditating and premeditating in a good sort of way, understanding that when you know where you're going, it's the Two of Wands, basically. You can get there faster and you can have more help along the way. With the Queen, the Queen and the King, there is this sort of Three of Cups energy that's surprisingly coming in with the moon. There's someone from the past, could be this Queen of Cups, that needs to be dealt with. There's a part of your past that you need to deal with. It still feels like you can move past it. So don't be afraid to talk about something. Fear and a lack of communication, those are something that's a surefire way to cause trouble. So as long as you keep talking and you stay open, I feel like you're going to be okay. All right, let's take a look now at the soul path, focusing on action and communication first. And thanks, Maria, for answering that person's question. Yeah, when I'm doing this reading, I don't take personal questions because I'm in a channel state. So thank you so much for understanding. All right, so action and communication. What can we do to bring some swords, some movement, some communication energy coming through? Page of Pentacles, interesting. So pages are really good at listening. They should be anyway. And with the Page of Pentacles, it is about receiving and validating what someone else is doing. The other thing is, I feel like it's time for you to offer what it is that you're working on. So a page is good. This is showing me that what you have, other people will be interested in. So for taking action, I would say package it up. I'm looking at this page and I would say, if you're going to pitch an idea, put together some sort of a visual and written package, get excited about it and pitch it. If you're interested in dating someone, like I said earlier, put yourself out there. They'll either say yes or no. It's not the end of the world. And when it comes to getting more money or getting more opportunity, you've got to put yourself out there as well. And you could, for some of you, there's actually a potential to create something that didn't exist. If you're looking for work, this is it's competitive, but if you have good skills, you could write some additional things that you want in your hiring package. And this is you saying, yes, but how about this? So there's a lot of movement here with this. Talking about factual sort of information, because pages of Pentacles, they're grounded. Pages in general, communication, but Pentacles is grounded. It's money, it's facts, it's resources. You should be advocating for those things. And I think you're going to be in a good place with that. So put yourself out there, make a move, listen, but then also come back if you want something more. You have that capacity to make it happen. All right. You might have an offer on the table too for some of you. Why are you pausing on it? That's what I would ask. Just speak up. I feel like you're worth this. If you're wondering, are you deserving of it? Sure you are. All right, let's take a look at family, maybe father or paternal energy, whatever might be coming through with that. Three of Wands, love it. All right, if you want to heal something, you can heal it. If you want to create or pull in something, you can pull it in. So for those of you maybe that are seeking a mentor, because paternal energy can be male or female, but it can be a mentor, it's going to come. If you want to put to rest something from the past, you can do it. And if you want to make sure that future relationships don't echo the problems that you had when you were a child or something, you've got this. This is positive. It's upright. It's the Three of Wands. There's better days ahead. So what I see for you is acknowledge, release, and then focus on something else, because you might miss an opportunity otherwise. Three of Wands is good unless you're focusing over here, or you're focusing over here, or you're not looking. So this is really about keeping an eye on those ships that are coming to the horizon. Your ships are coming in, right? So I like that. All right, now let's just do a wild card for anything else that is coming through. So let's see it. I'm going to answer a final question at the end. So if I did, those of you that have questions, hold it, and we'll have a chance after I meditate. All right, so back to the question here, which is, what else do we need to focus on? What else do we need to know? The Magician, fantastic. Okay, what a nice card to end with here. So the Magician is a master at manifestation, is a master at multitasking. The main thing that you want to think of with the Magician is this right for me? Do I want to do this? And once you believe in what it is that you want to do, nothing can really stop you with this. So we see here in the position, as above, so below. What happens with this, and my guides actually showed it, I had energy move through me. We are mortal channels. We are mortal conduits. Think of it as, we're kind of like I don't know how, it's almost like there's a two-ended plug, if you will. So we can plug into the sky, into the earth, and we're like the cord in between it. We don't need to take, this is why you don't need to steal anyone else's thunder or fire or flame. All you have to do is plug into source and ground yourself in what you want to do, and all of a sudden, universal energy flows through you. That's what the Magician is. It's a sacred symbol of our ability to channel energy. Those of you that want to work with something like Reiki, this is a great card, because this shows your ability to do natural healing. I think everybody would benefit this month also from, if you want to do anything like massage therapy, acupuncture, Reiki, energy healing, people don't need to touch you for that, remote healing. This is a card for all of that. And just to focus, pick a path and focus. The only thing that ever gets the Magician off her path is if she's too kind of distracted. So make sure that you're not trying to cook 4 or 5 different things at once, because one of the pots is going to boil over. One at a time, or just a couple things. Do less, but do it better. And if you do that, you're great. Your soul path is fantastic. Let's look at it right now one more time. If I were just to do a 3-card read and put this as past, present, future, what we're looking at here is something that you need to take and develop, or take and run with, or have someone kind of accept. So you just need to sort of bring it out there. Put yourself out there is the first card. Past influences. Present influences. It's already happening. It's happening faster than you think. Keep your eye, though, on the prize, on what you're trying to do. And then more is to come. This is just the beginning. And you can see that, because what we really saw here in the cards here is you're going to take it from that page and go to the Queen and then go to the King. So it is really financial this month, isn't it? I picked up on that. And try though I may, I did not get a swords card for you this month. But that's okay. Development. There's a lot of development that's happening within you this month. So keep on developing, keep on moving, okay? So let's meditate. And then while we're meditating together, think about one final question that you have for me. It can be anything that you want, health, wealth, love, destiny, or whatever else you're thinking about. You can meditate on it while we're doing the meditation, and then I'll pull a card at the end. Couple of quick notes before we do that. For those of you that just joined and haven't yet, hit subscribe. If you're new to the channel, please do that. YouTube's algorithm is hard to sort of figure out. So if you like what you see here, this is a good way to know that you can keep in touch in the future. We have less than half of the people that are here that liked it, or about half. I would say if you haven't already liked it, do it once, please. That'll just show YouTube that this is good content, and I appreciate it. Please follow me on social media if you haven't already, particularly on Instagram and on TikTok. Facebook is a great place where I put everything. My username on almost every platform is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's a great way to keep in touch and know when something new is coming through. Thank you to everybody that's given super stickers and super chats. If you'd like to do something when this is on replay, you can also hit the applaud button. Today's deck is brand new. Thank you, Monica, for your contribution right now. It does help, and I like to do more content. So I'm trying to do more and more videos and have more and more decks. So when you do that, it helps. All the information you can find that I just talked about is in that pinned link at the top. I'll put some more links myself here at the end, but let's meditate first. So the meditation today, as we're looking at all of this, I feel like we need to focus on this, the inner flame. So we're going to help you light the flame of inspiration, of productivity, of money and opportunity, all of the above. So let's get set up here. Let's imagine that we're going to pull in the owl and Athena as a part of this too. So imagine that you are standing before the goddess Athena. You are in one of her temples, and it's nighttime outside, and on her shoulder, she has her trusty companion, the owl. I want you to look into the owl's eyes, and you're going to sort of travel through its eyes. So look at the eyes and look at how brilliant they are. They're very wide, and initially you see a reflection, but because you're in this sort of cosmic palace, her name is also Palace Athena, but as you're in one of this sort of cosmic palace, you can imagine that the roof is open, and so all of these little stars are glittering on its eyes as well. And as you focus on those glittering stars, you start to see them move, and you start to move into the eyes of the owl. Symbolically, you can just sort of feel like you're traveling through time and space. And now you're somewhere else. And in front of you now is a single candle that Athena has placed in your hand. And the owl is gone, it's just you, and it's just Athena. And she's telling you that you have the wisdom, the power, and the passion within you to do whatever you want to do. That if anyone in your life, mother, father, sister, brother, teacher, has ever told you that you can't, that was an illusion. And she tells you to take a deep breath, and as you exhale, the candle lights. You've just basically started the journey into your own path of light. You are a light worker. So just like practical magic, you can blow the candle into ignition, not just sort of blow it out. So imagine now that you're holding this flame. Now, as you stare into the flame, you see what you can do. And I want you to look into that flame and see your passion, your desire, your potential. You're not looking at other people anymore. You're not looking at the owl. You're not looking at anyone else. You're looking within yourself. And Athena is there to help you feel protected and to guide this journey. So enjoy the visions that come through. Plant a seed of something that you want as well. And let's meditate for a moment, and then we'll come back and look at your final question. Take a moment now to feel that heat, that light, that energy. And imagine that as you start to look at yourself in the meditation, you see that the flame is now completely around you as an auric shield, as this beautiful light that is showing you things that you couldn't see before. So just like Athena and the owl, you can now perceive things which were there before, but you couldn't see until you opened up. And now understand that you have the energy of the magician within you. You can channel the light, you can channel the energy, you can become that which you've been seeking. That for any of you that might be looking at someone else and thinking, that's what I need. No, you have exactly what you need within. That person will find you as a matter of fact now, because we've worked on creating this beautiful beacon of light. Okay. Take one last deep breath. Let go. Gently open your eyes. And let's take a look now at the final message that's coming through for you. So think about whatever you need clarity on, whatever question you might have in your life at this moment. And let's pull one final card and see what the answer is for you. Okay, everything's going to be all right. There's actually an extra card in here that says that for the Ten of Swords. So you can read in this particular deck the Ten of Swords either way. I've been saying this a lot lately, but if something is rejected, or if something if you feel rejection, or if you feel a path in your life that you can't do anymore, this is okay. It's okay to let go. So this is a no. I don't always have I don't say no very often, but the 10 of Swords is telling me you need to heal yourself first. The only time it would be a yes is if you're doing something for self-protection. But what I would say the most important thing here, it's not really so much yes, no as a new beginning. I see the 10 of Swords kind of like it's a full stop and things can only look up. In the background, we see a new dawn breaking, right? We see this sort of majestic skyline that's starting to break through the darkness. And when we look at this one, the interesting thing with this, she's holding her cell phone, right? So don't let one person's opinion or thoughts or words derail you, because of all the cards we pulled today, that was the only one that shows this sort of self-doubt or energy of retraction. When we look at this, we saw you have something good to offer. We see things happening pretty quickly. We see the ability to manifest. If there's one rejection that comes through, if there's one person that disappoints, if there's one thing that you fail at, everything else is pulling you in a better path. This is the equivalent of a red light or a stop sign, and you're just going to turn a different direction because the street is too busy or you don't like. I think this is time to redirect. When it comes to 10 of Swords, I feel like usually it's avoidable, especially with the card in reverse. So what's going on right now is a chance for you to walk away from a painful situation, a chance for you to heal, a chance for you to take care of yourself and heed the warning that I said earlier when it comes to health. So if something isn't suiting you from a health perspective, you need to deal with that sooner than later. Ultimately, you're going to be okay. And I want you to focus a lot less on what other people have said, what they think, etc. The external need for validation oftentimes just causes pain or frustration. And you don't need that, right? So everything today was really, really in a positive sort of vein. But the last card is also saying, remember what I mentioned with Athena, pick your battles. There may be one battle that's not worth fighting. There might be someone here that just is not going to accept no for an answer, and it's time to step away. You can't make everyone happy, right? Oftentimes when you do the right thing, you might upset somebody. So based on everything that I saw here today, I feel like you're on the right path. Don't let this trip you up, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. It was really great to read for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this. Like I said before, if you would like to subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. I'm close to a milestone and I'll do something special when we hit the next milestone here on the channel. I mentioned earlier that you can follow me on social media. Let me just pull up some links here real quick for that. I am starting to do shorter form videos on TikTok, and I also put it on my Instagram page. So there are those two. I also have a newsletter. So if you would ever like to get my monthly newsletter, you can go there. You can also see some past issues there. Thanks to everyone that's already become a channel member. I appreciate that. And I have a book too that I've created, the Luminous Ones. It's great for folks that might be sci-fi or fantasy fanatics. If you like Lord of the Rings or Dune, this would be up your alley. If not, just keep hanging out here and I appreciate it. And then finally, it may take me a moment here to pull this one open, but like I said, we're going to have a collective reading this weekend, and Sunday, if you can join me, and I'll be back again both tomorrow, Friday, and Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So I have a pretty predictable schedule. But yes, the mid-month collective will be this Sunday. I'll have a link up later today. And then I also have 2 more collectives towards the end of the month. So there you go. And the whole schedule is on my website, which I believe I've posted the link already, but I'll do one more link for that. So if you want to look at past, present, and future readings, they're all here. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the new channel member, and thanks to everybody that was kind enough to give a contribution. Great to see everybody. I hope to see you here again tomorrow. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Again, kindle that inner flame. Realize that there's a lot of potential here as well for you. And when we looked at all of your soul cards, I just feel like there's so much to celebrate here. So really kind of work your magic, okay? Take care, everybody, and thank you again. And have a great weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. Okay, until then, bye-bye.